So a young girl comes to me and says, this happened some time back, and says, Subra sir, if you give me 1% of your wealth, I'll be very rich. So I said, forget giving you 1% of my wealth that I can give away. That will not make you very rich. It may make you rich perhaps, but I can do something even better. I can tell you the process of getting very rich. And the problem is, very smart kid, but I don't think she was very interested in the process. She was more interested in making this statement rather than. So she said, okay, what is to be done? And after that, I don't see many people who have actually done that. People like to hear and then they don't actually end up doing it. So first I said is, whenever you talk to me about whatever investments you want to make, etc., make copious notes. See what I tell you. If I contradict myself, you should be able to see I am contradicting myself, and I'll be able to tell you why I am contradicting myself. For example, my views on PSU buying, PSU selling could keep changing because every share, the story is in the price. At 500 maybe BHEL was a good sell, but at 20 it was not a share in which you could short and make money. So nobody who is shorting in the market would touch a share at 20 rupees with a view to shorting it, unless of course it was Reliance Communication or some shit like that. So nobody would short a BHEL at 20. So at BHEL at 20 is a great long story rather than a short story. At 500 it may have been a great short story. So some of these stories in the market get built and that they get overdone at a particular price. So at every price, State Bank of India is not a worth sell, and at every price, HUL is not a worth buy. At different prices, you have to make up your mind and act accordingly. I'm not giving these names as tip, but because you know that after a particular price, like say 150 currently for say State Bank of India, I don't think it is going to go much below, which means there's no great money to be made shorting it. It may not go long, but you can't make too much money shorting State Bank of India at 150 or shorting Tata Power at 30. These were shorting stories. I'm not saying it was not. Perhaps it was a shorting. Tata Power was a shorting story even at 80. I don't know. I missed it. It's not that I go short so easily. But at 30, it was definitely not a short story. It was more a long story, right? So first of all, I said, make copious notes of whatever I talk to you, especially about direct equity. And I said, please also look at the mistakes that I've made. Like for example, Tata Motor DVR. Something got me into saying this is a good buy. So I bought it at a nice price. And then I watched it go up 4x. Right, 4x, let me repeat, and then I didn't sell, and then now it is at half x of what I bought. So yeah, so huge mistakes, because in a good company you take decent positions also. So yeah, big mistake. So yeah, I've lost money. So these kind of mistakes happen. So you should know that everybody who is in the market will get some things right, some things wrong. So, but Ashok Leyland, I got it right, I exited. Maruti, I got it right, I exited, bought it back, right. So I did all that. So I said, in the auto space, I've gone right within India and I've gone wrong outside India. So these kind of things will happen. Then I said, second, know your numbers. Please know your numbers. It's not easy to just sit and talk about how much money you need, etc. You need a lot of money, because okay, something can go completely wrong. Your whole retirement plan can go wrong if you don't have adequate critical illness insurance and medical insurance. Something goes wrong and you have a big expense, like say you have a 40 lakh rupee expense on cancer treatment, and you didn't have enough insurance, your company didn't cover you. It can completely wipe you out. Even at the age of 40, somebody with 30-40 lakhs, which is not a bad sum of money, you can get completely wiped out and start afresh, right? That puts your retirement plan into a big problem. So it's not going to happen. So know your numbers well. When you sit down in an Excel sheet, sit down with an Excel sheet, see what are the numbers which work for you. How much do you want to spend on a house? How much do you want to spend on your vacations, right? Get all your numbers very right. Don't think that these numbers don't matter. Every rupee matters, because your Switzerland vacation could set back your retirement by 2 years, right? So translate money into years into money. See what's happening, right? And if you think your husband is going to manage your money, that's great, but sit with your husband and ask him why he's doing what he's doing, etc. Don't assume that because he's a guy he knows how to manage his money. So that was the first thing I told her. Just because you're a girl, it doesn't mean you know cooking. Just because he's a guy, it doesn't mean he knows money management. Maybe both of you need to learn, right? So it's not so simple. You need to maybe go and learn. So get your numbers right and see what returns you're getting. So which means you have to keep track of what you're spending and what you're investing. Both are very important, because your mind tells you completely wrong cock and bull stories. Your mind tells you, oh, you're spending all right, but when you write down, you realize that you bought t-shirts or shoes or dresses which you completely do not need, and your house is full of all such stuff which you bought but didn't use. Maybe it is only 800 bucks, but 10 of 800 bucks is 8,000 bucks, and 8,000 bucks at your age of 24 can be a dramatically higher amount at your age of 60. So maybe you postponed your retirement maybe by 3 months, 2 months. So that's how you have to translate it. So know your numbers very well. More importantly, invest only in things which you understand. If you don't understand Bitcoin, stay away, right? It's perfectly all right to stay away. Maybe there's money to be made in Bitcoins, but you don't know. Maybe there's money to be made in China equities, but you don't know. So stay away from things which you do not understand, things which you need not be in every asset class that you hear, right? You can be in some of the asset classes. Some of the asset classes you can give it a buy. Many people I know don't invest in gold. Many people I know swear by gold. So it's perfectly all right. You see what asset class you are comfortable. Some people are very comfortable with real estate. Some people are very comfortable with equity. Some people are very comfortable with both the asset classes. So you decide which what asset class gives you comfort. That's very important. Also remember, investment is like a religion. You take one particular style and stick to it. So when I say it is a religion, what I mean is, suppose you meet people from different religions. So every religion says ours is the only religion, you have to ignore other religions. Now this doesn't mean that religion thinks it is superior. It just thinks that man, given a choice, will go into every religion and do nothing. Right? So if you're standing at the base pyramid of a big mountain, and there are 3-4 trekkers who tell you that each one says this is the best route, that is simply because if you go into one route and you find, oh, it's very difficult, then you go back, try the other one. It doesn't happen that way. You just take one route and stick to it, right? Similarly, religion also is like that, and exactly like that, you have to have your clear investment philosophy. What you like, what you don't like. You like value investing, stick to value investing. Then don't go into see how is growth and this, or you say one portion of mine will be in value, one portion will be in growth. But at least have clarity in what you think you want to do in this in these asset classes over long periods of time. If you are in debt, you are in debt maybe to meet your emergency expenses and your short-term goals. And the balance money has to be in equity. But if you're not comfortable putting say 80% of your money in equities, and you are comfortable only putting 30% or 40% money in equities, that's perfectly all right. As and when you develop comfort, maybe at 45-50 you develop comfort and you now say, oh, I think I can be 80% in equities because I understand equities better than what I understood at 22. So be it. Don't get into dogma. Don't get into thinking that an IFA will help you create alpha. He will not, he cannot, he is not supposed to do that. That is the job of your fund manager. Your fund manager has to create alpha, and it's very difficult for the fund manager also to create alpha. So don't bother. Without creating alpha, if you can meet your goals without putting 80% in equity, just by putting 30% in equity or 40% in equity, if you can achieve all your goals, including your retirement goals, maybe you inherit flat in Bandra, which you can sell and go off somewhere else to live. So that will be your retirement corpus, right? So find out all those things about yourself, about your own numbers. Get all the numbers in your head very clearly, right? Once you do all those things, your road to wealth can be very clear. You don't need a Subra to give you 1% or anything like that. Makes no sense. But yes, you have to stick to it. You start an SIP of 5,000 rupees, you keep increasing it. All those things you have to do. 5,000 can be 50,000 for all I care. It doesn't really matter. Whatever number you start with, make sure that you push yourself, that you do equities, and then you review and you say, oh, this is not good, let me do something else. Or you maybe put money in an index fund, whatever it is, whatever be your goals, whatever you want to do, stick to it, be very clear about what you want. Once you have all those things in place, nobody can stop you from getting rich. Thank you.